The May 2025 World Tour began. Donald Trump was back on the global stage. He wasn't there for the pleasantries or the carefully crafted communiques. His mission was clear: to shake things up, to put America first. Always. The Middle East, a region accustomed to high drama, braced itself. Trump's reputation, a whirlwind of bluster and boldness, preceded him. He was a known quantity, a disruptive force. Yet he always managed to surprise. This trip promised fireworks from the very first day. He did not disappoint anyone expecting a spectacle. The air crackled with a nervous energy. What would he demand? Who would he target? First on the list, Qatar. The meeting with Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani was anything but cordial. It was tense, extremely tense. Trump, never one for diplomatic subtlety, launched his offensive. He accused Qatar face to face of not doing nearly enough to combat terrorism financing. He hammered this point relentlessly. Their relationship with Iran? Dangerous, Trump declared, his voice echoing in the ornate room. The emir listened, his expression unreadable. This wasn't the usual diplomatic dance, this was a full frontal assault. Trump was making it clear there were new rules, his rules, and Qatar needed to listen. Next, the presidential entourage swept into the United Arab Emirates, another key Gulf power, another stage for confrontation. Trump met with UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The atmosphere was charged, the main point of contention, China. Trump was visibly angered by the UAE's recent trade deals with Beijing. He labeled them short-sighted, a betrayal almost of American partnership. His America First mantra was the central theme. The Sheikh attempted to explain the UAE's pragmatic approach to global trade, but Trump was on a mission. He had his talking points. He delivered them with force. The overall mood during these initial stops was electric, bordering on volatile. Trump's signature style, blunt, direct, often perceived as aggressive, was on full display. Some Gulf leaders reportedly found his approach unnecessarily abrasive, an affront to traditional diplomacy. Others, perhaps more privately, may have admired his unvarnished straightforwardness. No more coded language, no more beating around the bush, just raw assertions of power. These first encounters in Qatar and the UAE set a dramatic tone for the entire tour. This was not just a trip, it was a performance. The Trump show was live, and the whole world had a front row seat. Then came Saudi Arabia, the kingdom, the heavyweight champion of the Gulf. Riyadh awaited Trump's arrival with a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. He touched down on May 13, 2025. A grand welcome was prepared. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS himself, was there to greet him. The cameras flashed, capturing images of apparent partnership. Smiles were exchanged. But beneath the surface, the currents of power politics churned. Trump had an agenda, a long and demanding one. This was a pivotal stop. Oil, regional security, influence, all were on the table. Trump intended to assert American dominance. The private discussions were reportedly intense. Trump offered praise for Vision 2030, MBS's ambitious plan for modernizing Saudi Arabia. Acknowledgement was given. But then came the hard part, the demands. Trump pushed for faster implementation of reforms, more changes, and he wanted them now. He wasn't in Riyadh merely for ceremonial photo opportunities. He was there to exert pressure, to extract concessions, to get what he believed America deserved. The Saudis understood the dynamics of power. Trump played the game with an almost brutal efficiency. He always did. He was making his expectations crystal clear. Suddenly, a surprising development. Syria. Trump threw a curveball that caught many off guard. He held a meeting with Ahmed al-Sharaa, the new Islamist leader of Syria, and this meeting took place in Riyadh. This was a political bombshell, a significant, almost shocking policy pivot. The existing sanctions on Syria? Trump announced they were being lifted, just like that. With this single move, Trump was attempting to redraw the political map of the Middle East. He was signaling a willingness to engage with new players, perhaps even old foes. The established rules were being discarded. Trump's rules were being written in real time. The Saudi visit was a complex tapestry. Threads of cooperation were interwoven with strands of confrontation. Trump's approach remained consistent, consistently unpredictable. He excelled at keeping everyone, allies and adversaries alike, off balance. That was a core element of his diplomatic strategy. The Saudi leadership had to adjust. The entire region had to adjust. A new Middle East order appeared to be materializing, forged in the crucible of Trump's high-octane whirlwind diplomacy. It was a dizzying spectacle, a testament to his disruptive power, and the world could only watch. One notable absence loomed large during Trump's Gulf tour. Where was Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister? He was not on the guest list. His calls, reportedly, went unanswered. This was no oversight, no scheduling conflict. It was a deliberate snub, a very public and very pointed message from Trump. Israel, a long-standing close ally, found itself momentarily on the outside looking in. The much-vaunted special relationship appeared to be under significant strain. Trump was actively isolating Netanyahu, and he wasn't being subtle about it. The message was clear. The primary reason for this chill was Gaza. The seemingly intractable conflict continued to rage. Trump had been publicly and privately campaigning for a ceasefire. He demanded the immediate release of all hostages. He made his views abundantly clear. Netanyahu, however, remained committed to his military operations. The death toll in Gaza continued to climb. International condemnation reached a fever pitch. Trump was visibly losing patience. He wanted tangible results. Not ongoing conflict, not endless explanations. He was a deal-maker, and this situation was not moving towards a deal he liked. Another major point of friction was Iran. Netanyahu vehemently opposed any U.S. diplomatic overtures towards Tehran. He saw Iran as an existential threat, unyielding, unchanging. Trump's administration, however, seemed to be exploring potential avenues for dialogue. This fundamental disagreement created significant tension. The Trump team was reportedly frustrated by Netanyahu's intransigence. Adding to Netanyahu's woes were the looming war crimes charges related to the Gaza conflict. Trump, in this instance, was not offering his usual robust shield of support. The ground beneath the U.S.-Israel alliance was shifting. A new Sunni-led Middle East order. That was the grand vision taking shape. Emerging from the complex geopolitics of the region, an order where Israel's role might be recalibrated, where Iran's influence could be contained, or so was the hope. Trump was playing a high-stakes game of geopolitical chess, moving his pieces Qatar, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Syria across the board. Each move calculated, each action designed to further his agenda. Netanyahu, it seemed, was just one piece in this larger game, and perhaps for Trump, a less critical one at this particular moment. The old certainties were crumbling. This whirlwind May 2025 tour was not merely about political posturing or delivering stern lectures. It was about tangible outcomes, results that Trump could showcase, deals. Big, impressive, beautiful deals, as he would say. He announced that over $2 trillion in investment commitments had been pledged, funneled towards the U.S. economy. Trump loved a big number. And this was a very big number indeed. It made for great headlines. It was, in his eyes, irrefutable proof of his success. Pure and simple. This was the language he understood best, the language of money. And the deals kept coming. Arms flowed. A record-breaking $142 billion arms deal was inked with Saudi Arabia. More advanced weaponry, more sophisticated technology. The Gulf states were eager buyers. America, under Trump, was a willing seller. Trump portrayed himself as the ultimate deal-maker, the master negotiator. These massive arms deals were not solely economic transactions, they were also strategic maneuvers, designed to bind these Gulf nations closer to the United States, aligned with American interests, or at least, that was the prevailing theory. All under terms favorable to Trump's America. The broader implications of Trump's actions were profound. His confrontational style of diplomacy acted like a wrecking ball, smashing through the old established ways of conducting international relations. Some observers decried it as chaos, as reckless endangerment of global stability. Others, however, saw it as a necessary disruption, a jolt to a complacent system. Significant policy shifts were announced with little warning. Alliances that had stood for decades were tested. New tentative partnerships were hinted at. The global order was being actively reshaped, line by painstaking line, by Trump himself. He was the author of this new chapter. As Donald Trump's aircraft departed the Middle East at the conclusion of his May 2025 tour, he left behind a region thoroughly stirred and undeniably shaken. Leaders were scrambling to reassess their positions. Policies were being hastily rewritten. The diplomatic storm he had kicked up was far-reaching. Its effects would be felt for years to come. His direct, often brutal approach had undeniable consequences. For better or for worse, a new, more assertive era of American foreign policy was dawning. The world watched and waited, with bated breath. What would Donald Trump do next? The only certainty was uncertainty.